Video game adaptations to movies and TV shows are often a commercial disaster. Despite a few recent winners, it seems like a gamble that isn't worth it. So why do studios keep producing them?
Money!
Yes, money is the answer, but almost everyone is wrong on how they make money from this. The video game industry is booming, generating almost $100 billion annually in the United States alone. However, the process of transforming these games into lucrative movies and TV shows has been largely unsuccessful, until now. Hollywood has always been doing adaptations, from books and plays such as Snow White and the Sound of Music, which proved film as a profitable medium. Hollywood adaptations of literature have spawned some of cinema's most beloved films. So why does this work, and this doesn't? The better question might be, how does someone look at this and think, this should be a movie? Most people assume it's because it already has a built-in audience. The idea is that you can take a dedicated fan base and entice them into buying movie tickets. Studios believe that eager fans would love to see their favorite characters and stories reimagined for the big screen. While that can often be true, it also leads to their first major mistake. Fans are very protective of the IP. Failure to accurately transpose the lore and feel of the video game, and you'll have a mob coming after you.
Don't worry about it, I'll fix it.
Video games have come a long way, especially from the Pong and Frogger days. While film critics such as Roger Ebert did not view the medium as capable of being an art form, his opinion may have changed had he still been alive today. Modern games have incredible stories, on par with blockbuster films. While Red Dead Redemption 2 is not structured like a typical film because it offers a 60+ hour immersive experience, the game borrows visual style from classic Western films such as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and The Searchers. The game's Ennio Morricone-inspired score and gritty Clint Eastwood-like anti-hero protagonist, amongst others, are all clearly inspired by a variety of Western films. One reason people think video game adaptations are being done is because they don't have to do much writing. Studios can just retell the stories from the games. But that's incorrect. Besides some scenes being literally shot-for-shot redone for the Last of Us TV show, even if they retell the same story, the medium difference requires a massive rewrite. The real problem, however, is that studios frequently fail to understand that the story often isn't the appeal of the game. For example, Hitman is exactly as it sounds. You play as Agent 47, a clone contract killer. Although throughout the series you do learn about your origins, the background for each mission, and why your target must meet their demise, the real appeal of the Hitman series is your ability to freely decide how to complete the mission. From stealing disguises to blend in, stealthily moving in the shadows, or going in guns blazing, the game is one big sandbox for you to control. 20th Century Fox made two awful attempts at adapting the Hitman series to film. Both times they missed the mark by failing to understand what made fans love the game. Freedom. The freedom to choose how you complete the mission. The character Agent 47 is intentionally bland, as the character is meant to blend in. The movies stripped the feeling of freedom and replaced it with a generic linear story for an already bland character. It's not what the video game fans want, and it's too generic for non-fans to care about. It's a movie made for nobody. Imagine instead if Hitman was done like that Black Mirror episode Bandersnatch, where you could choose different options. Now that would feel like Hitman. Watching a film is a passive experience. You pay, watch for 2 hours, absorb what you saw, and the film remains unchanged each time. This is why literary adaptations work so well. Video games, on the other hand, require an active participant whose choices shape their experience. Games like Fallout New Vegas offer incredible narrative freedom, making each player's experience unique. Film, with its inherent passivity, cannot offer the same personalized experience. Possibly the most notorious flop of a video game movie adaptation being the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie. The problem is they tried to create a story based on a game that had very little narrative purpose besides being a reason to perform certain actions in the game. Yet the 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie has been a commercial home run, being the highest grossing film based on a video game, having surpassed over $1 billion worldwide. So what's different? The movie had a $100 million budget, one of the best animation studios behind it, and an A-list cast. But why take all that risk for something that didn't work the first time? The biggest reason why a studio would take another chance is for the opportunity to create something far bigger than the video games or what a standalone movie could ever be. They are building a cinematic universe. To explain what that means, let's look at an example. In the same way Harry Potter books were so popular on paper and when reimagined on film is because of the universe J.K. Rowling created. While the books and film followed a linear plot, the overarching universe in which it existed was believable and immersive. Although we follow the plot of Harry, just as equally could we have been willing to follow the plot of Neville or anyone else in that universe. That's where the big bucks are. It's why Marvel has dominated Hollywood for the last decade, producing an endless stream of sequels and spin-offs. Film studios are always looking for the next big franchise, such as the Fast and Furious or the Lord of the Rings. But now they're recognizing that successful video games have already done much of the work of creating a universe. The film studio just needs to produce a story that is believable within the confines of that universe. The first Super Mario Bros. Movie was terrible because the story didn't live within the confines of that universe. It just took the characters and made a new one that no one cared about. The 2023 movie took all the familiar characters, the dynamic in which they exist to one another, then produced a new story that is believable to take place in that universe. Now they can produce a franchise of Super Mario movies by spinning off stories of any character they like, such as Luigi, Bowser, Toad, it really doesn't matter. Once you've built a successful universe, the money is practically limitless. New stories can constantly be produced within the universe to every medium, such as TV shows, comics, and even video games. The medium no longer matters as long as you can transpose the universe correctly. While gaming as a medium will never be able to be fully translated to film due to its reliance on an active audience, what film can do is achieve the tone and themes of the game within their stories. The trend of studios to focus on big franchises is arguably a step backward for many cinema fans. It's in the studio's own financial benefit to produce sequels and spin-offs instead of a one-off story. Why make The Shawshank Redemption if you know you could just make another Marvel movie? At least indie studios will still make the one-offs. But it's not just the film suffering from this mindset. Video games have had it too. Big game studios are now focusing on live service games, which are designed to keep people playing them for as long as possible. Instead of making one game and moving on to the next, companies create a game they can update for years to come by slowly introducing new features and storylines to the same universe. It seems great at first, but then you get tired from playing the same game over and over again, and you're nickel and dimed to progress or see new content. It's the same thing for movie franchises. They drag out plots to create as many movies as possible, and once you've already committed to finding out what happens, you're kinda stuck having to pay to see every film. As this trend continues, you might be surprised what universes movie studios are willing to take a chance on. Imagine a universe where you decide to subscribe to this channel. Now that would be something.